This is going to be the toughest fight of his career.
Sharp, relax.
The most embarrassing fight of his career.
Chair across your face.
Yeah, I think he's about to cry.
The boxing world is on fire right now, and Anthony Joshua is standing right in the middle of all the chaos. Legends, analysts, and former champions are blasting him, claiming he stepped into one of the easiest and most pointless fights of his entire career. The second the Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua showdown was announced, the boxing community split into one side, accusing Joshua of embarrassing the sport, and the other side fiercely defending his decision.
There's Crawford fight, his 11th fight.
I don't know.
Who did Arthur Beterbiev fight? Jake Paul has found a way to make himself the cash cow early in his career to where we shouldn't care.
Jake Paul has become the fighter right now that everybody wants to fight because right now he is the cash cow. He made $40 million just off of Netflix.
He has found a way to do something with his following, get under people's skin to make people care about these fights.
What advice would you give to somebody like AJ?
That he has a lot of talent and not to get discouraged. He only loses when he quits. When you quit, all the doors of opportunities close. You know what I mean? You just got to be, you have to be game. And then don't get discouraged if you lose. Listen, you just lost. You may have got $30 million. You should give Usyk a kiss and say, can we do this again? Don't let this internalize you. Oh, I can't fight now. This white boy kicked my ass. People are laughing at me. No, he kicked my ass for $50 million or $30 million. I hope he kicks my ass again. But this time it might not work out that way. I'm gonna kick his ass. I just think the more time you lay off, the worse you get. You have to fight to be the best. You have to do it more and more and more.
What do you say to the people who say Anthony is ruining his legacy just by taking this fight?
Fans don't respect what he's done in the sport already. He's an Olympic gold medalist, two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world.
I sort of sympathize with him because I feel like if he doesn't beat him quicker than he beat Francis, people are just going to write it off. I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about there's an agreement, there's a secret contract? Have any of those discussions happened regarding this fight?
It's an 8-round professional fight. AJ wouldn't have taken it if that was the stance it had to be, if it was an exhibition, if it was you've got to hold him up for 8 rounds. It wouldn't suit Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going in there to knock out Jake Paul.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on. Like, you can't be serious. He can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So it's just ludicrous.
To the loudest critics right. Now are boxing purists, analysts, and even legends like Floyd Mayweather, all arguing that Joshua should never have entertained this matchup. In their eyes, a 2-time heavyweight champion has no business stepping into the ring with a YouTuber who hasn't earned the resume, the legacy, or the pedigree required for a fight of this scale. They insist Joshua should be targeting names like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Jalei Zhang, or even Joe Joyce fighters who present real danger, real credentials, and years of experience built for moments like this. So when Joshua signs to fight Jake Paul instead, many have labeled it embarrassing, damaging to his reputation, and humiliating for the heavyweight division. But the opposing side sees the situation differently, and their argument runs much deeper. The reality is that Anthony Joshua has reached a stage in his career where business decisions are just as important as legacy. Boxing is unforgiving, careers are short. And AJ has already shared the ring with some of the best heavyweights of his generation. People forget he went to war with Andy Ruiz twice.
That question, and you know, that seems like a very friendly question to Jake, but you know what? It's a fair question. I'm not mad at the guy for phrasing his question that way. And again, yes, that's because Jake has a massive name and a massive spotlight. Without that, Jake is not fighting Anthony Joshua in his 14th fight. But on the other side of that, the risk involved with fighting Anthony Joshua here, and some of the fights that Jake had in his first 10 or 11 fights, most pros were either having or having worse opponents for. So when people discredit Jake's career by being like, he didn't fight this guy, he didn't fight that guy, he didn't fight a number of this contender, number that, look at your favorite fighter in their first 14 fights and you pick out the opponents that they had and the level of them. Sure, you'll have your outliers, your Vasily Lomachenkos and other guys that fought tough competition right away, but most, and I mean most meaning 95% of the sport of boxing, had tomato cans until he had 15 to 20 wins. Give Jake his credit. He's fought guys that even were better on his resume than some of your favorite fighters, and now he's fighting Joshua this early. That deserves the credit that I know and the acknowledgement that I know Jake is looking.
And it's a lose-lose for Anthony Joshua. However, given all of that, both men are going to make $92 million each. So forget my opinion. Who gives a damn when you can bank $92 million for having a little move around in a boxing ring? Fair play. You can't on that. However, let's talk about it. The reason I say that it's a lose-lose we'll start with Jake Paul first. The reason I say it's a win-win for Jake Paul is because, listen, if he wins, then he's beating a former heavyweight boxing world champion, certainly one of the best heavyweights of his generation, and of course, a man that is way bigger than Jake Paul. Of course, it's a win. And if he loses, it's still a win for Jake Paul because he had the balls. He was man enough. He was willing to test himself. He would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself. Everyone says the same thing.
He also faced Alexander Usyk twice, battled Wladimir Klitschko while he was still a serious threat, and pushed his body through wars that would have ended half the division's careers. So when a once-in-a-lifetime payday shows up, when a massive crossover event lands in front of him, when Netflix wants to turn a boxing match into the biggest global spectacle since Mayweather versus McGregor, can anyone realistically blame Anthony Joshua for saying yes? Joshua's supporters are clapping back hard, arguing that the same people calling this fight embarrassing would jump at the opportunity instantly if they were offered that kind of money.
And he beat him convincingly.
Yes.
And that's all he can do. And I think that he should take the praise from that and build from it, but he shouldn't want the criticism to stop because I think it fuels him.
I'm one with you, and I said that to Joshua in one of the interviews that I'd done with him. I said to him, listen, like I knew he was very angry with TalkSport and the criticism he was getting from TalkSport, etc. And I had that conversation with him and said, listen, Josh, you should be feeding off that. That's what good fighters do. You feed off that. Go and prove them wrong. Like that's where your fuel should be coming from. And I think to a certain extent he's sort of done that. I said, look, you're like, if people are talking about you, it's a good thing because that means that you're doing something right.
He wasn't ready for Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua was a different thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just he's got more one-shot knockout
it was
power.
Bad game
he took it
plan
more
as well,
seriously
though. I know he likes to switch in, but again, like this is where the boxing is. If you don't have that kind of intellect in the boxing, that footwork and foot positioning is. Put your foot on one side, you're going to get killed. You put your foot on the other side, you're safe. You can kind of manage the power and see the punches coming. But he kept switching stances by just leaving himself in just the wrong positions.
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Wasn't ready. There was a lot of hype off the Fury fight.
Also, Joshua got to watch him box in the Fury fight, see some patterns. Fury, I think, probably took him lightly.
Yes, I think so.
He's one of the greatest of all time. This guy's never had a boxing match. At the beginning of the fight, he's like, time to go to school.
He's earned the right to secure his family's future for generations. And anyone who disagrees is either bitter or ignoring reality. Supporters argue that this matchup will draw more global attention than any heavyweight fight this entire year. And if Joshua performs the way most people expect, he'll leave with the biggest paycheck of his career and a knockout that will echo across the sport. The discussion has evolved far beyond boxing skill or technique. Now it's about pride, legacy, money, respect, and long-term survival. It's about whether Anthony Joshua is avoiding tougher opponents or simply making a smart business move. It's about whether Jake Paul is genius, delusional, or a mix of both. And it's about whether this event is a circus or the new normal in modern combat sports. One thing is certain, the boxing world is completely divided. Some legends are furious with Joshua for accepting the fight, calling it pointless and damaging. while others praise him as a smart strategist who understands today's boxing landscape better than anyone. With the fight locked in for December and both fighters already deep into training camp, the noise and drama surrounding this matchup are only getting louder.